morning, everybody. Welcome to Soapbox Slam, where I get on my soapbox and talk about the things that I see going on. So I really had to get on my soapbox this morning and talk about the recent memes and I guess memes, jokes, basically the viral phenomenon of Bleach, blonde, bad body, bad build, butch body. Bleach, blonde, bad build, butch body. Okay? And this is what I'm gonna get on my soapbox about. Now, this shit is hilarious, right? You know, I find it so funny how, first of all, actually, the comeback is funny, right? This is an exchange that occurred in our elected representatives' House of Congress, okay? This is the type of behavior that your representative, my representatives, the American politicians behave. This is their behavior, okay? It started, and I think this is beyond, I mean, pathetic, elementary. I don't know what the right derogatory descriptive word would be to describe the Democrat and Republican parties in our House, our federal House of Representatives. And Senate as well. These are our elected representatives. This is what it's come to. This is the sophistication level of people in Congress, what we elect. Okay, I can't stress this enough. And I think that what's really sad is that our elected representatives have become an Andy Cohen special, an Andy Cohen sitcom, an Andy Cohen reality TV. That is their behavior. It is beneath anything that I would expect out of my elected representatives. And I guess I have too high an expectation in our day and age. Because this is how people treat people, and if this is what our elected representatives do, then imagine what the general public does. It's beyond laughable. Now it is extremely hilarious. I mean, I watched this and I chuckled. I'll even post it on my Facebook page so that you can see my soapbox and scroll through and actually see the video. And it's funny and it's sad, both at the same time. Now, here's the scenario, here's the situation. It originally started where I believe this is the Judicial Committee voting on approving judicial nominees set forth by the presidents. Now, AOC, the exchange actually occurs between AOC and Jasmine Crockett, both Democrats, and then Marjorie Taylor Greene, a Republican. Now, Marjorie Taylor Greene has been in the news a lot. She's made a name for herself. I would say it's a notorious name, and to use the word notorious never really means in a positive light. Notorious usually has a negative connotation. If you look up the definition of notorious, it's not always, it's not designed, the word isn't used usually to glorify something. It's actually to paint a more negative light on one's name or reputation. So the idea to be notorious isn't always, by true definition, what one would want to be. We would say Jeffrey Dahmer is notorious. So it usually is followed by something negative. And that's how the word should be used. The English language has a lot of words in its language, more words than any other language in the world. And every word has a specific definition with specific reasons for using it. Our society has... our education system in our society has diminished, and so we are not teaching people how to use words properly. So I am trying to use the word properly and say that Margie Taylor Greene is notorious for causing a lot of commotion and rabble-rousing and race baiting, and this is who she is. And she's made a name for herself this way. I mean, it's not. This is not a Trump supporter thing or anything like that. Not all Trump supporters behave this despicable, or this despicably. And so this is not like, oh, all Trump supporters do this. That's not necessarily true. This is a particular person who behaves, and I would also say that. Margie Taylor Greene is the epitome of a nasty, disgusting Karen. People like her do not deserve to be in politics, but that's what her group, her constituents have voted her to represent. So, in essence, who she is a reflection of the people that she represents. And so those people are like that. So there is a huge segment, and I believe she represents a group of, a ward or a group of people from Alabama, either Alabama or Georgia. And that is who those people are. She is a reflection of those people. And my take on that is that's how those people behave. She is the pedestal of the community that she represents, and that is what those people do, and that's how they want themselves represented in a federal legislative way. And I don't respect that from a human standpoint. She's not a good human being. The epitome of a Karen. So anyways, nonetheless, it's an exchange, a verbal exchange that occurs between Marjorie Taylor Greene and AOC and Jasmine Crockett. It starts where Marjorie Taylor Greene is challenging the idea of nepotism and a nepotistic position that was appointed under a federal judge. And defensively, the Democratic representatives, particularly AOC and Jasmine Crockett, try to devalue or diminish the point that AOC is making, as far as, the point that Marjorie Taylor Greene is making as far as the nepotism that was used to give somebody a position. Now, I've had many discussions about nepotism. Nepotism is rot in our society. It's everywhere. We see it whether people are qualified or not. And I've always stated, and I still believe to this day, if you're gonna have DEI, then if you're gonna have nepotism, then you have to have DEI. If you have a problem with DEI, you must have a problem with nepotism. They go hand in hand. I would say that in Marjorie Taylor Greene's defense, if she's challenging the nepotism, she is also one who would challenge DEI. So that is kind of consistent. And my position is neither should be challenged. Or either neither should be challenged, or and both should exist, or none of it should exist. If DEI doesn't exist, then nepotism should not exist whatsoever, one iota. Or if nepotism does exist, then DEI has to exist. That's my position. And Marjorie Taylor Greene appeared to be consistent if she was challenging the nepotism that occurred in the appointment. the Democratic representatives, AOC and Jasmine Crockett, didn't particularly like that challenge. Well, the immature elementary Andy Cohen housewives of whomever, pick a county in the United States, because all people are starting to behave this way. Marjorie Taylor Greene turns around and gives an insult on one's appearance, that being Jasmine Crockett. And she says, "Oh, I'm sure you couldn't hear me through your big eyelashes," or whatever else, and made reference to the eyelashes that Jasmine Crockett was wearing, and suggested that Jasmine Crockett couldn't understand or hear what Marjorie Taylor Greene was talking about because of her eyelashes. Now, this is a stupid, childish, elementary statement. It's completely unsophisticated, and one that you would not expect. I don't care if it's the House of Representatives or the Senate. It's a comment that one should not be making in a legislative body, period. But nonetheless, Marjorie Taylor Greene did this. She did it. She opened the can of worms and she started it. Of course, when that happened, there was a little bit of commotion. You could tell that some people on the committee were like, hey, that's out of line, or whatever else. As defiant as Marjorie Taylor Greene is, defiant and obstinate, she, stood her position or whatever else. Once order was regained in the court, AOC jumps in and says, wait a minute, I want... There's a verbal exchange between AOC and Marjorie Taylor after that comment, and then Marjorie Taylor Greene turns around and says to AOC, you're not intelligent enough for me to have a conversation with. Now, at that point, the committee kind of erupts again, and the chairman tries to gain order of the committee, and once order is gained, this is the most hilarious part, and it's truly funny to me. It's pathetic, but it's funny. Once order is gained in the committee, Jasmine Crockett says, point of clarification. Now all these senates are ruled by Robert's Rule of Order and parliamentary order. So things are stated in a particular formality. And so Jasmine Crockett says, point of clarity or point of order. I want to know what the procedure is or what the policy is for for, let's say, if I said a member of the committee had bleach blonde, bad body, bad build, butch body, bleach blonde, bad build, butch body, right? This is what Jasmine Crockett said. What is the procedure if I say a member of the committee has bleach blonde, bad build, butch body? Oh, this is hilarious to me. The delivery that Miss Crockett gave on this. I mean, you could tell, first of all, the chairman was like, what? What does that mean? What? I mean, and the person sitting next to him, I mean, just erupted in laughter and caught his composure. And people in the committee started laughing and then tried to catch themselves. Of course, Marjorie Taylor Greene is so highly offended. Oh my God, poor Marjorie Taylor Greene. She turns around and she's like, I want that stricken from the record. I want that stricken from the record. I mean, just very defiant and upset. And of course, then this exchange between Marjorie Taylor Greene and Jasmine Crockett occurs, where Jasmine's like, no, wait a second. you want, there's an exchange. Basically, in essence, I'm summing these parts up, not quoting here, but she wants that stricken from the record, the fact that she was called a bleach blonde, bad-built butch body. And she's highly offended, and she, being Margie Taylor Greene, is highly offended and wants this stricken from the record, and all of this extra drama that Margie Taylor Greene has created now, because she is angry that Jasmine Crockett defended herself verbally and assaulted her back. Now, this is the exchange, and this is what occurs. That's why I call this Andy Cohen reality TV, because this is this back and forth, childish, elementary behavior that both of these women are engaged in. And now Margie Taylor Greene cries victim. She cries holy victim and plays the victim card. This is what makes her a Karen. And beyond what makes her a Karen, look, if you want to have a verbal assault against each other, I'm not even going to say fine. If you are going to engage in a verbal assault, you are going to start the verbal assault against two women and call them unintelligible and make fun of their appearance, well, then you have to expect that they're going to come back at you. And again, this is childish, elementary behavior. But if you're going to do it, then you have to expect it. You cannot cry because the comeback is harder than what you did. And that is what Margie Taylor Greene started to do. She started to cry because the comeback was harder and the comeback was way better. And the comeback was on point. Look, so, first of all, I'm going to say, number one, don't ever, 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 ever challenge a black woman when it comes to reading, when it comes to insults. Don't do it. Just don't do it, because a black woman will gather you, put you together, crack your face, drop you, gather you again, and put you together. You just don't do it. I'm warning you, just don't go there. There's no reason to ever go there in the first place. But if you're going to go there, I would never try that with a black woman. And I hate to make it racial or whatever else, but just don't do it. Just don't do it. If you ever studied African-American history, if you study anything like that, and I'm not making it indicative of African-American history, but it is prevalent. I mean, there are books about it. It's called playing the dozens, right? I mean, this is a game that is in African-American culture, playing the dozens, where this quick, witty comeback and cut down. Another group of people who are notorious for this type of stuff is, don't come for a gay person. Them gay boys, I'm telling you right now, especially the real Queenie gay boys, they will read like RuPaul's drag races and everything else, them drag queens and the gay boys and everything else. Don't come for them. Do not try to read them. Do not try to cut them down, because they have been cut down all of their life. They are masters at the comeback, and they will cut you down twice as hard, and you will be cracked and on the ground. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. I'm warning you now. This is a PSA, right? This is a fair warning to all. Okay, just don't engage. Otherwise, you will be gathered by either the gays and the drags or a black woman. And the black woman is the queen of it, right? So just don't do it. That's my advice. But Margie Taylor Greene is a stupid person and an unintelligible person. And she's a very arrogant person. And she can't learn anything. She doesn't know anything. She thinks that, I don't know, she thinks she shits gold. I don't know. But she tried it. And Jasmine Crockett got her together. She got her together so good that Facebook, and there are memes about it, his posts everywhere. And I was wondering for the longest time, why am I seeing this, bleach blonde, bad built butch body posts everywhere? Like, all early this week and last week, I'm like, why am I seeing this everywhere? Well, now I found out why. And it's hilarious to me. Now, I will go on to say this and wrap this up, and it's a very unfortunate because it's unfortunate that this is the state of sophistication in America. You don't have to be a representative for me to think that you should not behave this way, right? We as human beings should not be behaving this way. As adults, we certainly should not be behaving this way. This is what you would expect out of junior high and high school kids. I wouldn't even expect this in K through 5. And if it started in K through 5, I would make an assertive effort to correct it so that it was not acceptable. But this is the type of behavior that happens in junior high school and high school, which is a sign that if our elected representatives are behaving this way, then they have not grown or developed the sophistication past junior high or high school. That is what we have running this country. I mean, that's a really important thing to say. Now, having said that, I'll just say this one other thing to wrap this up. The exchange that occurs after that is very, and I plead you to watch the I will post it on Facebook. Watch what I post and listen to the exchange. And I'm not just talking about the insults that occurred. At the end of the exchange, and this is really what makes her a Karen, and really when I talk about things like microaggression and the subtleties of racism and the implicit, when people talk about this, and you people, and I say you people who want to pretend and act like black people are just making shit up, or that I'm just talking out my ass and I don't know what I'm talking about, and I'm just being whatever. And people get very angry, and I get very angry, especially with people I went to school with, college or high school, and my white counterparts. So I get very irritated and angry with you people about that, is because you refuse to acknowledge. I'm pointing out what do you, when they say, what do you mean? How could you say that? What examples do you have? Here is a very specific example of the microaggression that occurred after in the exchanges. And this is also why I wanted to be on my soapbox about this slam. And it's these microaggressions that escalate and infuriate people when they are done. And this microaggression and this bigotry that Margie Taylor Greene revealed about herself occurs in the later parts of the discussions, right? Or the exchange. I don't think there was bigotry in talking about her eyelashes. That I don't think is motivated in bigotry. I just think that's motivated out of aesthetic taste. And that varies across the board. But what is bigotry on Margie Taylor Greene's behalf is at the later part of the exchange. And this is why when people say she's a bigot, well, they don't say that. I say that because I'm not using the word racist. I try very hard and reserve that word for A, its true definition, and B, when I truly need to explain somebody as being a eugenist and like David Duke, basically. But Margie Taylor Greene is certainly a bigot, and she specifically started to use what am I trying to say? She specifically started to use microaggressive behavior, passive-aggressive, microaggressive, insinuatory behavior to paint Jasmine Crockett a certain kind of way, rooted in racial bigotry. And the later exchange, Margie Taylor Greene, when they're trying to, and really the majority of people who were being quiet were contained by the chairman, who was saying, point of order, trying to quiet the room. And Margie Taylor Greene continued to escalate, and then Jasmine Crockett continued to escalate. And Margie Taylor Greene kept saying, why are you being aggressive? Why are you yelling? Why are you being loud? Why are you being aggressive? In a way that tried to paint Jasmine, who was not escalating, was not yelling, had a tone in her voice that was rather calm, But Marjorie Taylor Greene tried to use language and act like a victim. Why are you yelling? Don't hurt me. Don't yell at me. Don't scream. Why are you screaming? Why are you behaving like that? Why are you being so aggressive? You know, that was the microaggressive behavior that Marjorie Taylor Greene engaged in that was unbelievably despicable, and is in a perfect example of how Karens and a lot of people, which is why the Karen explosion occurred. It happened so, I mean, I don't know what they do to train people to do this, but if it's clearly a sign of what's in the society for women and how people behave towards things, for women to be able to pretend and act and say and do things like that to insinuate and escalate an issue against another group of people. And that's what Margie Taylor Greene did. And that is the revelation of her bigotry. And so when people want to be, why is she a bigot, or try to defend her, and she's a Karen and everything else, or no, she's not a Karen, or why are you calling her a Karen, or anything else, that is the perfect example of what people do when they are trying to paint a picture of somebody as aggressive or whatever else. The police do it and everything else. They pretend to be some sort of victim when they're the aggressor. I mean, in my opinion, that's what Israel is doing, pretending to be the victim when they are the aggressor, and they paint a picture that says, oh, well, they're doing that. They're being loud. They're being aggressive. They're being this. They're being that. I'm so afraid. When that bitch ain't afraid of nothing. Marjorie Taylor Greene ain't afraid. And for her to say, why are you being loud? Why are you being aggressive? That was all an unbelievable, disgusting revelation of her inner spirit. She's a very foul person. Very foul person. And people who behave like that do not deserve to represent any group in a parliamentary legislative body at all. I mean, I don't know how the ethics committee would allow any of this to occur, and all of those people, including AOC, and because I'm a person who's fair across the board, and Jasmine Crockett ought to be censured as far as I'm concerned. They all got involved and they all played the game and they all got suckered into it, and all of them should be censured for it as far as I'm concerned. And the ethics committee that's my solution to the problem. The ethics committee should step in and should just stop it altogether. All of them are wrong. It's funny as fuck though. It is funny as fuck. So anyways, that's what I'm on my soapbox about. Upcoming, I got plenty of material. I've been so busy and worn out. I work really hard, but I've got plenty of material to talk about, so I'll be seeing you guys soon. In yesterday's USA Today, there was an article, something that I've been talking about for a while now, and that's the issue with the price of rent versus people's income. And it does not match, and the state of the economy when it comes to renting and the prices of things and everything else. So I have a lot of material to talk about, and I can't wait to get into it with you guys. I'm hoping I'll have some time on the holiday weekend to really get into some soapboxes and do some posts for you. So please stay tuned, and please be kind, right? Let's not do what Marjorie Taylor Greene and Jasmine Crockett and AOC did, right? And that was all instigated by Marjorie Taylor Greene. She is the culprit. She is 100% at fault. The other two got suckered into and pulled and dragged into that nastiness, but all of them are guilty of it. But Margie Taylor Greene was the one who started it, and it was disgusting behavior, and that's what I'm on my soapbox about. That's the takeaway, and my solution to the problem is the ethics committee should censor all of those women. And if it's not them, somebody, the Speaker of the House, somebody needs to censure that and step in and bring some order back into the behavior of adults, because that is disgusting. And that's what I'm on my soapbox about. But there's tons of material that I got coming for you. So please stay tuned and be kind. Let's be better than what our representatives are showing. Because our representatives are showing the state of our society today. And I am asking and pleading with all of you all to be better. Please do an act of kindness. Be kind, right? One act of kindness begets another act of kindness, and it spreads like you would not believe. Try to show joyousness and kindness in your heart for one another, and do one act of kindness for a person today. Okay? Be good, be kind, have a wonderful day.